What's up, fam? Extraordinary Life with Elijah. And today, Morgan is my extra and I am the ordinary. We had our last farmer's market here this last Tuesday. My family hadn't been to farmer's market all summer. We just had such a busy summer. We didn't get out to go and see it. And so we went to the last one, and the very first booth that I hit going into the farmer's market was a place that deals in knives. And this gentleman, Morgan, he's the founder and head maker. His passion and just his love for the craft of knife making absolutely captivated my heart. He's just getting started out, entrepreneur, but he's getting so many orders that he can't keep up with all of them, but still just pressing forward and wanting to do better, grow his business. An idea that I've had within business for some time now, and I have no idea how many people I've pursued to see this idea come to fruition, but no one has taken me up on it yet. But I found another person who is passionately moving forward. They're getting started out in their business and they could really use someone to come alongside, pour resources into their process and see them prosper. Now, the idea is that with all of my video equipment, all the specialized skill and storytelling and editing and B-roll, that I want to use all of my skill to pour it into businesses to promote them in the community and see them do well. But as I've brought this idea, that people have said to me, "You are insane." Now, if they didn't say it outright, they say it by their behavior and how they treat me. That I present the idea to them and they're like, and there's this look that comes across them and they're like, "Good luck with that. If anybody else joins in, let us know and we'll jump into it." Definition: insane. In a state of mind which prevents normal perception, behavior, or social interaction, seriously mentally ill, extremely foolish, irrational, or illogical, shocking, outrageous. As I've thought about this action of having this idea that breaks with status quo, of a consumerist, capitalist society that says you don't give anything without getting anything. That is equilibrium, status quo of a business market context. That when I come to that context and I say, I have this amazing idea that I want to pour into your company. I want to see you do well. That's it. That's my motivation. I want to see you do well. Based in the status quo of consumerism and capitalism, that people say this person is insane. They're approaching me in a state of mind which is preventing normal perception, behavior, or social interaction. They're irrational and illogical. They're shocking and outrageous, and I don't want to have anything to do with them. And as a result of people being locked into the system of status quo, where they can't imagine anything outside of the fact that people don't give things away for free without having some ulterior motive on them. Because that is what has always been done, they can't imagine anything being done outside of that. And so the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. Another way that I like to say it is if you always do what you've always done, you're always gonna get what you've always got. And so as I approach this capitalist consumer mentality within business and this culture of suspicion and the results that it gets, I'm like, are those results good for you? Is that working for you? Do you want more of what you've already got in suspicion and self-protection and competition and isolation in business where you have to protect what is yours in a game theoretic that says we have a zero-sum system here and I have to compete over limited resources or I'm gonna be driven to extinction? Is that working for you? Because if you always do what you've always done, you're always gonna get what you've always got. And if you don't like it, which lots of people say they don't like it, if you do more of the same, expecting to change the system, that is the very definition of insanity. So out of that, I've come up with this theory called the insanity of status quo. I think that status quo is the most socially accepted form of insanity in all of society. And so what I've experienced over the last 4 years with approaching business owners with this idea to say, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna make a bomber marketing video for you. It's gonna be about you. It's not gonna have my branding on it. It's not gonna have my spin on it. It's gonna market your product, your services, your vision, your culture, your business. And I'm gonna broadcast you to the world. And even on the last portion of the screen, there's not even gonna be a little watermark that says produced by Elijah Allen Scheidler of Obsidian Realty. No, it's going to promote you. And then I'm gonna jump on my social media in my business and say, hey, I met this freaking amazing dude named Morgan who is just the bomb.com. He's so passionate. His knives are so awesome and he inspires me. Now I'm telling you as Elijah Scheidler of Obsidian Realty Group, go buy his knives. And hey, by the way, check out this guy's marketing, listen to his story, go promote the heaven into this guy. He's so cool. And I don't charge anything for it. Now, when I engaged Morgan, Morgan is a man who is passionate about life. He's creating culture in his business that it's not about product, it's not about process. It's about a people in process together who are making a product, who like each other and are doing life together. That he is in a state of mind which prevents normal perception within status quo behavior, within status quo social interactions. He is stepping outside the insanity of status quo. Now, how does this all come together? How does this call come together? Well, this video is extremely late because I made a video last week and I'm not gonna post it. I think the beauty about making videos is that you can go back and listen to yourself. You can hear the tone, you can hear the words, you can hear the frustration, and you're like, man, I don't wanna release that because that's not going to be beneficial. So I cut it off and I'm redoing the video, but with Morgan as my extra. Here's the deal. In my process of saying, I want to move forward. I want to press into excellence. I want to press the boundaries. That as I bring my shocking, outrageous, crazy ideas to people within a context of status quo, they often help me out in believing myself to be insane, that they reject me. They don't want to have a relationship with me. They don't want to have connection with me. And a lot of that, I think, is a process of me not being a good communicator and learning how to invite people along into vision that is outside of what has been done previously. New is not next. Next is the logical progression into the next safe venture that's based off of principles that we've had in the past. That's next. New is something that we don't even have a context for. I don't have a context for. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work, but I've never been there. It's the frontier mentality of Christopher Columbus, who just says, I'm gonna jump into a boat, sail over the horizon, and I don't care if I sail off the edge of the world. At least as I go over, I'll know where the edge of the world is and I'll enjoy the fall and to whatever it is that I land down below. But at least I will know that's the edge of the world and I won't ever have to worry about it again, sitting here on this dock just staring at the sunrise and listening to all of the craziness of people saying, well, if you sail that way, you're gonna fall off the edge of the world. It's the pioneering, visionary aspect of my life. And so new is not next. And so being able to press out into new myself, take risks myself, go into the promised land, get fruit, and take it back to the people that are in status quo to let them taste the goodness of what is new, and then not get frustrated when people taste the fruit, say that's amazing, but we're gonna go back to the leeks and the garlic of slavery. That's the benefit of status quo. The lust of status quo is the ability to have predictable control, even if it's crap and you don't even like it, and you've submitted yourself under slavery and you're in bondage to Egypt. Who cares about that? At least we had control to know what we're gonna eat that night. The value of equilibrium and status quo is control and predictability. And so when Elijah just rolls up into status quo and says, guys, I have something outrageous and shocking that we should try and I think it's gonna work. Let's break with status quo. They say, man, this guy is a state of mind which prevents him from having normal perception, behavior, or social interaction within this construct of control and predictability. He's seriously mentally ill, and he's threatening everything that we've built. So either I'm not gonna talk with him, I'm not gonna listen to him, I'm gonna give him the blank look, I'm going to socially ostracize him, talk about him behind his back, censor him, or violently kick him out of the assembly. Now, I've experienced that on numerous occasions, and I adopt a lot of responsibility that I have not remained gentle, I've not remained patient, that Paul says, teach with all patience. And that Jesus walked with his disciples for 3 years, and that he rubbed his temples and said, how long shall I be with you? And that when he got to the end of 3 years with them, that the best question that they could ask him before he left was, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel? And that Jesus is like, oh my goodness, you're seriously mentally insane. You're so stuck in status quo that you don't even know that you're not thinking in the normal perceptions and patterns and behaviors that are socially acceptable within the kingdom of heaven. You're over here in the social insanity of status quo in a world that's being ruled by sin and the powers of darkness, and you don't even know it. But Jesus remained patient, he remained loving, he remained kind. Let's bring back in Morgan, who's my extra, and land this thing. As I got done with Morgan, we had this beautiful conversation. We sat in camp chairs, we drank coffee together. Morgan was sitting there with one of those pump shotgun things that shoots salt and kills flies, except he has wasps that are flying around in his shop, and he's like, chka, chka, shooting at these wasps while we're talking. Such a great guy. Man, I enjoyed my conversation. We got done and he said, well, Elijah, if what you're purporting is as good as you say, and he's like, I don't trust you. I don't know you, so I don't trust you, but I'm willing to run down this road with you, man. Like, let's go. Let's jump into Santa Maria and let's head for the horizon. If we fall off the edge of the world, great. I'm willing to go with you on this adventure. Let's do the video, man. Let's do the marketing. He shook my hand, said, have a good day, man. As I was leaving, getting in my car, he yelled after me, it was worth 100 no's to get the one yes, man. Thank you, Morgan. And he yelled one last thing. He said, keep grinding. Here's my extra. As I drove away, it just echoed in my soul. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. As I've engaged people who have been incredibly frustrating to me, that I've allowed the frustration of their grinding to grind my gears, that there's a misalignment of stability, and I'm pushing in the clutch and I'm just grinding the gears, trying to get them to go together, and they're not. And so I disengage and I just go into neutral and I drift, and I'm bitter and I criticize, and my mind has so many thoughts of condemnation and arrogance and violence that I struggle with, that is not pleasing to God. Regardless of what God has shown me that is new or awesome, that's nothing in comparison to the fact that I'm harboring bitterness and slander towards other people because they grind my gears. But in the context of this man, Morgan, who is a master knife maker, as his card says, best damn knives on the planet. So good. That there's a man, this artisan, who's passionate about knives and getting the bevel on those knives just right, entering it in, getting the edge of that knife just perfect through grinding. That hearing him shout out the grace that was on his life, he said, Elijah, keep grinding. That there was this transformation of thought that lifted me out of this context of these insane people who are stuck in status quo, at grinding my gears. No, that process has been grinding on my life and helping to sharpen me. That the 100 no's of inviting people into this vision that is outrageous, it's extreme, shocking, that's extremely foolish. Young man, you are in a state of mind which is preventing normal perception within business behavior and social interaction that protects not only you, but the fiduciary responsibility of your company. And I think you're seriously and mentally ill. Gentlemen, I have decided we do not want to have anything to do with this young man because he will destroy all that we have built over these last years. Drink my whiskey, away with him, he is insane. All of that process of grinding, sparks flying, being tempered and not having a temper, not losing my temper. Ooh, that'll play. I like that. But out of that process of him shouting with the grace on his life, keep grinding, Elijah, that God is sharpening me, that God is helping me to be sharper in my process, sharper in my communication, sharper in my vision, sharper in my refinement, sharper in my sanctification. But that as I stay engaged with other people and I keep grinding, that I'm helping bring them out of an equilibrium of status quo where there's just this insanity of doing the things we've always done to get the things that we've always got, and just loving our leeks and garlics by the banks of the Nile River while our kids are getting murdered by an oppressive government, and just going back and slaving away, building bricks with things that we don't have, to make quotas that we can't reach, and just being whipped. But man, we've got leeks and garlics, and Elijah is crazy. That in that context, that I would stay gentle along with Jesus, that he came and he walked among us and he sat with people who were captured by the insanity of the status quo of sin and death and destruction. He was sharpening those in his life, that he was helping them maintain their temper, not losing their temper, such that a sharpened testimony of the goodness of Jesus was being worked into their lives, such that at the end of it, they would walk out of the status quo of sin and death and into the glorious light of the kingdom. If you subscribe to what I am doing, hit the button, hit it, and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you loved this video, you didn't just like it, hit the thumbs down button. I think we're gonna touch on that next week. I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding there. There's a little bit of a social insanity of Elijah that's not being picked up. Not sure, but we're gonna hit it. Again, keep grinding. Blessings on your day. I love you guys lots, and I will see you in the next video.